today I wanted to speak about what you should do or how you can go about finding the path you're meant to find after high school, or if you've dropped out of school recently. This was something I personally struggled with when I first finished high school. I'm on a path now that I believe is, I guess, where I'll end up for the rest of my life. I have tried other paths along the years after high school, and it's always led me back to what I do now. I'll kind of rehash my journey like a TLDR, and then I'll add in advice I think I can give, so I guess you don't be scared of taking risks or potentially waste time. So I graduated personally in the year 2020, during the peak of the lockdown pandemic stuff going on. I still found a path. When I did finish, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had ambitions during my final year. Initially, I wanted to do film production. I had a dream of studying media and movies and, just all that sort of stuff. And it's nothing close to what I do now. But my first step after I finished high school was I went and I did in Australia it's called a TAFE course. I don't know what the equivalent is across the world, but basically it's a trade you do. So it's kind of like in the middle of high school and university/college. It's that middle ground where anyone can get in. As long as you do good in the field and you show practical skills, you will pass the course. The courses are fairly simple and you get a job. That's what I did. I did that for a year, and it wasn't something I did out of choice. I kind of just kind of went fuck it and did it, right? Because I have a history in my family of nurses. So the course that I did was a aged care course. So it was a first step into the career I do now. And yeah, I didn't even want to do it at first. I just did it because in my head at the time, I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I want to do. And I was like, you know what? I'll try something new. Maybe it will take me far. And yeah, I'd say it has. But I studied for about a year, on and off, to be honest. But I got it done regardless. We did work placement, which is where you just do like 120 hours of unpaid fucking slavery and just fucking work yourself to shit because, why not? But yeah, once they grade you on that, you finish the course, and then you're actually qualified to go work in the field. And then I got my first ever job. I don't know anything outside of nursing. I never had a part-time job. The only time I worked was when it was required to pass high school, because they had this program where you had to work for like a week or else you wouldn't pass the year for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, that was the only time where I worked another job. But in terms of actual jobs where I've applied and I'm qualified and I get paid a normal hourly rate, I've always been in nursing. Yeah, it wasn't something that I just kind of, quote, carried from the bloodline or chose to do. It was just on a whim, and my mother just suggested it to me. She goes, yeah, try this, see what you think. Did it. First job I hated. I left after 4 months. Yeah, it was humbling. So when you go from studying in high school, right, the only thing they prepare you for is the 9-to-5 environment, right? Or like working hours, like showing up somewhere and then leaving somewhere at specific times. But nothing will prepare you for the horrors of certain jobs, especially in nursing. I went through a lot in my first job. I didn't think I could do a lot. I felt like I was still a kid, even though, how old was I at the time? I think I was 20, yeah. It wasn't that long ago. That was only a couple of years ago. But it's like night and day compared to now. But back then, I wasn't like, as flamboyant as I am now. I didn't speak up. I just didn't project anything. I hated talking. I was antisocial. All of my bad habits from high school that made me, I guess, a bit weird, carried to this job. And it honestly bit me in the ass. People didn't like me because I was underspoken. And rightfully so. I don't blame them. At the time, I didn't like them, but looking back on it now, if I were to come across someone who was like me a couple of years ago, I wouldn't like working with them either. So I can't fully put the blame on them. But yeah, I worked at that job for 4 months. Very high intensity care, just fucking flat out. Yeah, I was tested, and I left on my own terms. I didn't leave because I was bullied out or whatnot. I left on my own terms. I stayed there when, it was kind of me against my old habits versus everyone else. And I learned to adapt, overcome, I guess, being comfortable. And I became better. People liked me. And then that's when I left. I left when I was able to leave with no regrets. I only left because, the workload was pretty fucked and I was severely underpaid, so I thought I'd go somewhere where my pay was worth it. And then over the next couple of years, I went from maybe about 3 different jobs. So I'd only worked casual the past couple of years in the working industry until a couple of months ago, where now I've landed an actual position that's mine, that it's permanent. But I was experimenting, honestly, man. I traveled the country for this job. Like, they'd fly me out to random facilities where, it's in the middle of nowhere in Australia and they needed workers. So, one of my jobs, I would travel. I just explored myself. I did new things that were uncomfortable, and I found purpose, even though my grades in high school were abysmal and I didn't know where to go, because I just tried. I just did things. And I feel like the best advice I can give for like people newly graduating is like, don't be afraid to try things, and do not don't read into it. Don't overthink it. Nothing is overcomplicated unless you overcomplicate it in your head. That is the honest truth. That's the essence of it. Everything is fairly simple and straightforward if you make it so. If you overcomplicate it with variables that might not come up, you are going to end up shooting yourself in the foot and making it harder. I'm saying this as someone who has done that all his life and had to learn to stop doing that as he entered adulthood to find, not necessarily success, but I guess find his edge. And I'd say I have found my edge. I'm in no way successful, but if I look back to myself 3.5 years ago, that's when I started working. So 3.5 years ain't that long, but for me, it feels like a lifetime. Because again, I look back on the person I was, and back then, it's just night and day. Back then, like I said, antisocial, lived with my parents, didn't know what I wanted, worked a piss poor job. Now, I work a respectable job. I'm paid my worth. It's my position firstly as well. It's not a casual job, like that's my hours, my shifts, all that. It's a respectable company. I live on my own. I pay my own bills. These are things, no shit, when you get older, you just fall into these things. But you'd be surprised, especially in, at least in my generation, right? Or some generations before me too. Living on your own is not easy. I don't blame people for not wanting to move out of their parents' house, because it's not feasible. And believe me, after me literally moving states, right, to where I am actually on my own, it is hard. And I know it's not feasible. Now, I'm able to thankfully get by, but it's had its ups and downs. But I don't blame anyone who does live with their parents and is taking it extremely safe and slow. Because for you newly graduating high school students, for the ones that aren't super smart and can just get into pretty much any university course, if you're like me, who this is a saying I like to say, I know what I know. If you only know what you know, do something that's in your family already. If it's something you don't necessarily like or you don't even know about, try it. Try things. Experimenting is the best thing I've ever done in my early 20s, and I'm still technically in my early 20s, but you know, very soon I'll be in my mid 20s. And you know, those first 3 to 4 years of your 20s are where you want to experiment. You just want to put your feet in the fucking deep end. If it blows up in your face, bear the consequences, move on. That's how you learn. If you're comfortable, you will go till the age of 30 working, I'm not even kidding, working at a job you hate and regretting every minute that you wasted. Just take a deep dive in whatever the fuck, even if it's something that you find slightly interesting. Like, I tried to pivot from doing nursing a couple of years ago. So after a year of doing nursing, I tried to do IT. I did it for 6 months, and then I hated it. I liked it, and then I ended up hating it, and I dropped out, and then I went back to nursing. There is nothing wrong with picking up something and fucking up. Absolutely nothing wrong. That's all you need. You need to just try until you get it right. And then when you get it right, you're laughing. That's it. That's all you need to do. Yeah, and sometimes your parents won't help you. Like, they're just too caught up in their own lives, and sometimes they just can't give their kids advice. Maybe they don't know how to answer. Maybe they never had that when they were, you know, the same age. But my honest advice, if you are somebody who had bad grades like me, didn't really get a lot of advice, and just kind of wants to dip their toes in things that they take an interest in, do it. I would advise you, just do it. Take a deep dive. If you like it and you can become profitable off of it, do it. Capitalize on it. If it's not good, try somewhere else. You're like, from the age of 19 to 23, in my opinion, are like the years where you got to do trial and error. After that, you got to have it figured out very quick. That's just how I see it. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Everything is going to be okay. It's a lot more simpler in retrospect. But yeah, the time is currently 4:30 p.m. on a Monday afternoon. I got work in about 4 hours. Yeah, have yourselves a lovely evening, and eat some dinner, because it's very good to keep yourself healthy. Yeah, take care.